Attention gamers. I want you to look at this Senna. She's out and about just enjoying the fresh air, doing her job of destroying the competition's cameras while installing her own. She's just happy to be out of that cramped lantern that smelt of skeleton gooch sweat until bam, the abandoned husband comes out demanding answers, but before she could explain herself she was beat up and killed.
And how did you feel when your husband was doing this, ma'am?
I mean, it felt to me like I didn't even have a fair shot because I wasn't facing him or looking at him, I was walking away from him.
That is correct, there was no fair shot, and if we show Jack Sparrow's point of view I will explain why. As he approaches her, everything has the looks of what will be another prolonged and drawn out domestic dispute between the two, but if you pause right there, let me explain a few things about this situation. First, you have the president's passive primed, which if you are new to the internet means a double auto attack is pending, but if you look below you will see the product of Riot wanting Lucian to make friends easier by adjusting his behavior to benefit from being around others, where he now receives bonus damage on his attacks after his balls are fondled by an ally. So there's 3 buffed bullets in the oven because the koi fish hiding behind this wall of senseless silver elo pings gave him a little titty tide color blessing, which further buffs those next bullets even more. Add in the mechanic that I tried to explain on Twitter with a cringy pun and you'll see that he can proc or electrocute just from using these buffed bullets, and that is precisely why this went the way it did. But you see, this simple synergy has now made this the most ridiculous bot lane comp in maybe all of League's history, because starting at level 2 a short trade will have your enemies questioning why they even queued up, as this stupid combo is almost money back guaranteed to continue to surprise hoes in lane, turning small cheddar cheesy easy trades when you aren't even ahead into full-blown homicides that will have witnesses to the crime so disoriented from what they just saw until they pray for death themselves. Like this cop with cupcakes probably thought she'll have to eat an auto or 2 for walking up here, but I don't think she was expecting to get eaten in one bite, as you are now the resident Rift magician. You have tricks that make pikes disappear out of thin air. You can make top laners with 2 levels on you piss off with haste. Junglers who think they will have enough time to port back in time, failing to Marty McFly in time. And don't even get me started on what you can do with squishy targets, as you can pull tricks off right in front of their friends without them even realizing what happened. So today I'm going to show you how ridiculously brain-dead stupid this is by ignoring the tiny bit of game sense I have and just running straight at the enemy and fighting all game, and then I will show the small changes I made to turn this into an even more ridiculous stomp fest starting as early as level 2 in a game, where I will also tell an embarrassing personal story about my childhood. So if you enjoy the fact that I suffer through this piss pit of a game to hopefully put smiles on your face and ideas in your head, please abuse the shit out of my subscribe button and let's get into it. Now, for those of you who will be inevitably asking what app Rav is using today, knowing I'm like the Inspector Gadget of League tools that I convince myself will help me climb, I was using something called LoLWiz, which gives this handy window that fits nicely next to Riot's shit client, allowing you to auto-set runes based off of what's working best for your champ, and then when the enemy picks their champs you can get what every guy wants, a quickie, which is a quick tip to play against them. In loading screen you can do a swift scouting report which will show you things like how your jungle is a one trick on the weaponized fart cloud and how their cupcake is going to tilt easily. During the game you can see live stats and build information, which is dope, but it also gives you a little diff tool to see who has got their matchup, and as the game goes on you'll see that I dominate this mall cop, but what's hidden OP about this is that it shows enemy vision score, which you can't see through any other tool. So you can totally see who doesn't like warding on the other team and gank them more often, but hey, you didn't hear that tip from me. Then the thing I actually love about this is after the game it automatically gives you all the kill and death highlights perfectly clipped like it's been to a celebrity barbershop for you to show off and easily export to your socials. So LoLWiz is the name they've sponsored this game, and you can use my link below to get it today. Now, as I mentioned, I was going to put my Yasuo main costume on and just run at people all game, which is why at level 2 I hit a flash so free you'd think I'm a drunk chick on Mardi Gras, but at least I'm not that one-shot prude whose early laning phase just got cucked from one trade. Then totally not after a stupid death I see my wife looking tight with that hot low red bar above her head, so I get the buff bubbles and nail a combo so fast molasses be real quiet right now. The entire early game consisted of me giving 2 shits about where the wave was or proper trading and just doom zooming at them, eating chains and nets and bullets and whatever the fuck Senna shoots out of her gun to prove that against 2 squishies this is just brainless. For legal reasons I have to disclose that a fat furry came down saying he was gonna deliver lightning to the Lucian, but our one trick Nocturne both hunts bears in the night and also controls when it becomes night. He's like a moon that murders, so the polar patrol gets counter-cucked hard. My strategy then boils down to making these dying hoes think I'm shopping while I'm actually staging a surprise in the shrubs that I ruined by literally insert antonym for dodging that route, but a giga-slow combo consisting of 2 autos and a Q is enough to have her left limping and farting blood out of her flashless ear holes. We head up mid when my duo is like,
We don't know where any of them are.
Nah bro, we got this.
but a carbonated combo is enough to send that 5,000-year-old toddler back to Girl Scout camp, as my support becomes the first person ever in history to give a positive spin to the phrase makes a better door than a window. Anyways, this is silver and 15 minutes, and so naturally the game mode changes to ARAM as I hang with the boys until bubbles start orbiting me, and then I hit a dash on dadass to kill the Kate before puckering my Obama butt cheeks till they cramp. At this point I'm not even ahead due to my mindless mechanicsless decision making, but that's not going to stop me from filing a civil suit over Scuttle custody while being willing to one-shot any bitch that steals him from me. Side note, I built the Force of Gale, which I later realize is suboptimal, but I might as well use it while I have it to inform my wife that I don't need to see her to shit in her mouth. Then me and the flailing wailing tail fin are scanning for a Wi-Fi signal to post that last clip from me banging my wife onto my OnlyFans when we have a run-in with the tranquilizing toddler, and unfortunately 2 bullets doesn't fully do the trick, so I dash and fire just a couple dozen more her way. This leaves me 1 volibear burp from base, so I play the fight safer than a seatbelt on a shitter until Zeus's rogue house pet finally pisses off. Anyways, inting Cyan is still unfortunately a thing, so we have to rotate and deal with the obese car mechanic when that bald as fuck eagle delivers the icy cock block of her life, and then the 3 of us work together to provide you with nightmare fuel, thinking about what situations like this will turn into when Riot makes all champions take less damage next month. Earlier I dropped a bait the Kate cookie in the shrubs, which did its job wonderfully as I asked for the orbiting fish bowls, and then I attempt something flashy before being served something different than what I ordered, but I wasn't complaining despite not killing Kate because I had more pressing priorities that popped up. And as we are fleeing the scene of the crime that dragged on seemingly forever, a rogue beach ball swings in before I volunteer to eat a water bomb in exchange for the opportunity to ejaculate ammo onto baby Rapunzel, but a tantrum tomato is enough to force me to use the force, the gale force that is, as I claim my kill. Then we are all huddled and cuddled up together. I was told we were gonna show each other our nipples and tell shameful sex stories, but they were like, let's get objective, so I'm like, okay, fucking lame GDIs, if you don't want to hear about how long my wife lasts when I screw her, how about I just show you? That said, Senna is caught more out of place than an Alzheimer's patient on Jeopardy, so she gets the dickin' before Voley tries to impeach me but fails and ultimately gets sentenced and slaughtered for his attack on the president. Anyways, the jump roping geriatric jail bait tranquilizes my mermaid, so we blow her up like a bubble until she goes golden on me, so I load some Mentos and Coke into my hand cannons before triggering a few backseaters who think I don't know you can cancel Lucian's ult as she slips on an ice cube and dies. Turns out someone plugged this polar bear into their iPhone charger and now he's so amped he's doing stupid shit all by himself, but hey, it pays my wage and I'm now on a rampage. Now, in case LoLWiz doesn't give you this quick tip, it's worth noting that Zoe loves watching people while they sleep like some weird fuck fetish, so I just know she'll be lurking, aka looking to get pistol whipped into oblivion. I then chase down the Coca-Cola mascot until I run into my wife, who told me earlier she wanted to chill alone in a lantern tonight, so I killed that bitch on account of dishonesty before joining back into the festivities with so many dashes there's not a single hyphenated word in the dictionary that'll look me in the eye anymore. Anyways, my team has found evil amusement out of turning the lights off and forcing those shitters to surf, and considering I brought guns to a beach ball fight, it ends poorly for baby Barbie, which agitates the polar bear into proving why his species is slowly going extinct. JK, sorry to offend any animal rights peeps, it was a joke, I love animals, look at my dog, say my fucking dog is cute or you'll end up like this Senna. Side note, I swapped out Gale Force for Eclipse by the end of the game, which makes this combo deadly even without the Nami, as you can see in Exhibit A entitled Dead Bitch. And so yeah, easy stomp in a game where I 1 suck ass on Lucian and 2 just ran face first into danger every single fight in that game. But I also discovered an easy way to make this 10x more ridiculous, and that is to take Electrocute, as my slow ass combos didn't proc PTA half the time, and to rush Eclipse, as it adds to the surprise. Bitch, here's some burst to your face, so please see the clipped highlights with these changes as I tell you the story of how I once almost lost my dad his job. You see, I was born in 1993, which means I grew up actually knowing what grass felt like while reacting to different situations by using real words instead of just saying pog or kek when literally anything in my life happened. But it was also a time before girls could just sit in a bathtub, fart a few times into the water bottle that shit, and sell it online to fund their next 4 years of expenses, because online sales and the internet weren't nearly as mature, so there were other methods for selling products remotely. Namely cold call telemarketing, where these scoffs monkey slime ball used car salesmen would cold call thousands of random phone numbers trying to sell you life insurance or the latest Katy Perry CD about the edgy concept of the time about a girl kissing another girl. And these calls were insufferable and a huge waste of time, but we had something known as caller ID, which would show us on the screen who was calling before answering the phone, which gave us the heads up if a call would be one of these telemarketers. Sometimes my family would just ignore the calls coming in, but other times they would pick them up and prank the person, doing harmless things like pretending to be a restaurant and asking for their order, and other things that have probably contributed to me turning into the D-gen loser that I am today. But anyways, I love this prank shit, and one day when I was home alone, a call came in that was flagged as a telemarketer. So I picked up ready to prank the piss out of this person who could probably give 2 shits and probably just had to get through a list of 600 more calls today before going home. But when this lady asked if my dad was around, I responded in a thick fake southern accent that he quote unquote went down south and got a bullet in his chest. This provoked a much more empathetic response out of the person on the phone, as if she personally knew my dad or something, as she then asked for my mom, so I told her that my mom was the one who put the bullet in his chest, really doubling down on what my 11-year-old super mature ass thought was the acting performance of a lifetime on my end. Well, it turns out the lady who called wasn't a telemarketer, but rather a close colleague/client that my dad worked with for years, and the alarming story that I told her provoked a lot of follow-up calls around my dad's office and who knows what other authorities, as I believe I had also mentioned that my mom was on the run. Anyways, I get sick of talking about this piss pit of a game sometimes, so figured I would share one of my more embarrassing failures in my childhood, which now brings us to the point where this stomp fest had me more fed than a horse at a hay buffet, so you can probably guess how this one ended. We lost because I suck ass and can't abuse a lead to win a game if my life depended on it, but that doesn't mean you can't, so try Nami Lucian and let me know if you want to hear more stories about my life on this channel in the future. Rav out.
I tell you, my trigger's a feather, so walk up, I'll gently put one in your chest.